emotional about the hounding of the press and the paparazzi and how they...
Imagine turning on your TV one morning only to find that the face you greeted every day, America's most trusted morning anchor, had simply vanished. That was the shock millions felt on November 29th, 2017, when Matt Lauer, who for 2 decades held the Today Show together, was abruptly fired and erased from NBC's roster. One complaint, one internal investigation, and his entire on-air life was gone within 24 hours. Now, let's follow his journey from hometown reporter to household name, then into scandal, exile, and the quiet life he leads today. Matt Lauer was born on December 30th, 1957, in the bustling heart of New York City, the son of a Romanian Jewish bicycle company executive and a former model turned boutique owner. Early on, he split his time between the gritty work ethic instilled by his father and the glamour of his mother's fashion world. But his first real classroom was watching his grandfather, a professional singer, command the stage. Those lessons in poise, projection, and connecting with an audience would become the foundation of a career that seemed destined for the bright lights. After enrolling in Ohio University's communications program, he surprised many by dropping out in 1979, just 4 credits short of graduation, to chase real-world experience. His very first job was behind the camera in Huntington, West Virginia, but within a year he was anchoring live newscasts in a mid-sized market, juggling 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. broadcasts at age 22. That baptism by fire, reporting under pressure with no safety net, earned him a reputation for calm professionalism. Through the early 1980s, Lauer hopped from city to city, co-hosting PM Magazine in Richmond, Providence, and eventually New York City. Each market demanded a fresh approach. Local human interest features, quick celebrity profiles, lifestyle segments. He adapted and refined his style with every move, learning how to read a room, shift his tone on a dime, and polish his on-screen persona until it gleamed. In 1986, he scored his first national gig on ABC's short-lived Fame, Fortune and Romance, exploring opulent celebrity estates and private yachts. Though the series ended within a year, it introduced Lauer coast to coast and gave him a taste of television's seductive excess. He returned to local news, but the big networks had taken notice. By June 1994, NBC was searching for a way to reclaim morning show dominance from Good Morning America. They needed someone who could mix hard news with celebrity banter, who felt less like a distant authority figure and more like a familiar neighbor. Matt Lauer fit the bill. As today's news anchor, his affable style, quick wit, self-effacing humor, genuine curiosity helped the program claw its way back to #1 in the ratings. On-air chemistry with hosts like Bryant Gumbel and later Katie Couric and in Curry further endeared him to viewers. With Couric, those playful back-and-forth moments, finishing each other's sentences, teasing jokes, made the show feel like friendly morning conversation. When news turned serious, he could pivot seamlessly, guiding millions through tragedies like the Oklahoma City bombing or the O.J. Simpson trial with measured calm. Behind the scenes, however, whispers began to swirl. Several women who worked with him described an environment where crude jokes, unsolicited sex toys as gifts, and inappropriate comments were routine. More disturbingly, they spoke of a hidden lock under his desk, a secret button that could secure the office door from the inside. To many, Matt Lauer was untouchable. To others, he was a predator wielding power. Those rumors remained mostly unspoken until February 2014, during the Sochi Winter Olympics, when a young NBC staffer, later identified as Brooke Nevels, alleged that Lauer had sexually assaulted her in his hotel room. She said it wasn't a misunderstanding or a single lapse in judgment, but an act of rape. NBC quietly investigated at the time, but took no public action. The complaint was filed away. The superstar anchor went on with his career. Everything changed late on November 28, 2017, when NBC received a fresh complaint alleging sexual misconduct. Within hours, executives scrambled, launched a swift internal review, and by the time Today's Show anchor Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb stepped in front of the cameras the next morning, Matt Lauer was already fired for cause, stripped of his $20 million annual contract, and banished from the network. Guthrie and Kotb, visibly shaken, delivered the news live, two trusted faces informing viewers that their morning ritual had abruptly lost its star. That announcement triggered a deluge of additional accusations. At least 3 more women came forward within days. sharing stories that ranged from unwanted advances and lewd comments to trapping employees behind that locked office door. Variety's subsequent investigation compiled scores of first-hand accounts describing years of toxic behavior enabled by NBC's silence. Someone who once interviewed presidents was now himself the focus of the biggest scandal in morning show history. As the allegations mounted, NBC moved to repair its shattered reputation. The network refused to pay out Lauer's remaining contract, introduced firmer harassment reporting rules, and promised enforcement top to bottom. But the damage to victims, to employees, to the company's brand was irreparable. For Matt Lauer, the silver lining evaporated in a day. His two-decade empire crumbled into dust. In the weeks following his firing, Lauer retreated entirely. He stopped responding to calls, withdrew from social circles, and vanished from public life. The Hamptons mansion he had purchased from Richard Gere in 2016, a 14,000-square-foot waterfront estate dubbed Strongheart Manor, became both his sanctuary and his prison. He listed it for sale at $44.8 million, eventually accepting $40.9 million in 2022, a clear sign that the once constant flashbulbs had all but died out. His personal life unraveled in tandem. Annette Rowe, his Dutch model wife of 19 years, quietly finalized their divorce in September 2019. From the outside, she walked away with roughly $20 million in assets, including sole control of their Long Island horse farm. The couple, parents to 3 children, agreed on co-parenting arrangements and managed the split with minimal media spectacle. But friends say the split was painful and definitive. Then Ronan Farrow's landmark book Catch and Kill arrived in October 2019, reopening wounds with new allegations that reconfigured the narrative from a single incident to a systemic cover-up at NBC. Farrow detailed how management allegedly ignored warnings, allowing Lauer to continue abuses that spanned decades. Lauer issued a long, emotional open letter in 2020, denying criminality and accusing Farrow of sloppy journalism. He admitted mistakes, but in the court of public opinion, his credibility lay in ruins. Today, nearly 8 years after his fall, Matt Lauer exists almost entirely out of sight. His estimated net worth remains around $80 million, cushioned by lucrative contracts, investments, and the Hamptons property sale. He divides his time between a quieter presence in the Hamptons, occasional stays in New Zealand, and a low-key romance with Shaman Abbas, a longtime friend and luxury goods executive. Their relationship, kept well under wraps, seems to offer him a measure of stability, far from the glare of studio lights. Lauer has never returned to television or launched any new public endeavors. He avoids interviews, red carpets, and philanthropic appearances. According to those who still speak with him, he spends mornings driving his children to school in an unassuming car, picks up breakfast at a local cafe, and focuses on personal fitness. The once dynamic on-air personality has traded global live broadcasts for quiet domestic routines, a life defined by what he's left without as much as by what remains. The saga of Matt Lauer is a cautionary tale about power, fame, and accountability. For years, success and ratings protected him. When that shield finally fractured, the consequences were swift and total. His story forced NBC and the entire industry to confront uncomfortable truths about harassment, cover-ups, and the price of silence. It reminds us that no morning anchor, no matter how beloved, is immune from the rules everyone else must follow. As viewers, we still face questions. How many more voices remain unheard behind closed studio doors? What cultural shifts are needed to ensure transparency and safety for all employees? Matt Lauer's life today, marked by exile rather than accolade, serves as a stark reminder that trust, once broken, is incredibly hard to rebuild, and that sometimes the brightest star can fall the fastest when the light of accountability finally shines.